Hello and live from the infamous Murph's Pub, I'm Jeremy Toner and welcome to this week's Wednesday Night Undressed. Yes, the podcast that reaches into the wobbling places. Wobbling? Wobbly. Wobbles. Places other podcasts daren't venture. We don't claim to look at things scientifically, but we definitely have all the answers to your mysteries, vegetable, animal and mineral. We know the kings and queens of England and questions most political. In short, we can explain matters mathematical, physical and medical. We are truly the only naked podcast you can undress to on a Wednesday night while wallowing in your bath. And we've discovered that we have listeners all over the world who are listening. They're not doing anything else, they're just wallowing and listening.
Yes.
Which is really cool. And they're naked, driving down the road.
Okay.
I mean, it's bizarre, isn't it, really, when you think about it. Chris is here, Ivo, Julian, Fernando, Ben, Lewis, Kathleen.
Hello.
Who else is here? Ben. Julian's got his vacuum.
On the knobs.
And
Julian.
on the knobs, he doesn't like to be forgotten. Mr. Knobs himself.
Are you getting to be known by that?
Yes.
Neil?
Yes.
Mr. Knobs.
Nobby Neil Rasmussen.
I love it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, first question tonight. Why isn't there any Bud Light? This is going out across Kansas, Northern America, and right across Europe. But anyway, what sort of bar do you call this? There's no Bud Light. Hey?
We call it a good bar.
A good bar.
No, I think we're looking for a good bar.
I
Good
got
bar.
the last of it.
Isn't that a name of a film? Good bar. See, I got that.
Jeremy won a Foster's.
Yeah. That's piss, the Australians call it. What is your favourite heist movie? This, to me, is a silly question because the best heist movie has to be The Italian Job with Michael Caine in it.
Which one? The original?
The original,
remake?
the only one.
Well, wait, the remake was pretty good with the Mini Coopers
Yeah,
and Charlize Theron. It was pretty good.
but it didn't have Michael Caine in it, did it?
Well, no, but it was still pretty good. So
I
why
don't
do you
even
think
know
that's
that-
the best one?
That the Italian Job even made my list of top 10. As I'm sitting there thinking about it, it didn't even occur to me.
It's really good. The Italian Job is excellent.
The original Italian Job was a classic, I felt.
Yeah.
And there's lots of, and he said to blow the doors off, and things like that.
No,
and
it was
Mr.
very
Bridger and so on. So,
Well, it's really
Paul
the
Moore.
model for a whole heck of a lot of other movies.
well, it was based on an Ealing movie, I think, of
Yeah, I was communicating with Ben here because he wrote his choice, and it had not even occurred to me that this is a heist movie, the one he wrote down. And
Shall we ask Ben what his movie was?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your favourite, your heist movie?
Reservoir Dogs.
That was Fernando's. Looks like.
And you lent him your microphone,
There is a
too.
certain etiquette here, Mr. Ben, and that is you don't take other people's answers before they attempt.
I was going to wait my turn, but I was asked directly. But yeah,
Oh,
it's a
that's
great
nice.
movie.
Blame the host.
It is. It was my choice.
I wrote down, wait for Jeremy to point at me. I wrote that down, and I think I'm pretty much was called on. But
Fernando's
Fernando,
man.
why don't you say how much you
Fernando,
like it and why?
he put that down. Look, you can see he's just squeezed it in between.
no.
Yeah.
No, you
I mean-
explain what's so good about it.
Everything. I mean, from cutting ears to just Mr. Pink and Mr. White and
Mr. Blue.
I mean, that's Tarantino, man. That's that movie I watched so many times. However, like another one, maybe we could put as a heist. So it'd be my, Snatch from Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, just that heist of the gems on what was Antwerpen, the diamond like traders. They're talking about the.
Love it.
You know
mean-
what? You're right. And it seems like every Guy Ritchie's movie is a heist movie.
Exactly.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
That's a good
There
one.
was one about something about gentlemen that he made recently. The only one maybe is Sherlock Holmes. He wasn't, or he made some crappy movies, but he does.
After Madonna, once he.
Yeah.
After Madonna, everything went downhill.
Didn't he make Swept Away or something ridiculous
Exactly.
like this?
It's Madonna's
with
fault.
Madonna? Yeah, Madonna ruined him. But yeah, his heist movies are good. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels was fantastic.
And he wrote both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Very good point. A Reservoir Dogs. I never really identified it as a heist movie, but it is, because of so much. The dialogue was so witty and was so much rooted in dialogue that it didn't feel like a heist movie for some reason. But it was just outstanding. You're right,
Chris.
Yeah, I considered Reservoir Dogs. I mean, my favorite part of that movie is at the very beginning when Mr. Orange actually gives himself away and is the snitch at the breakfast meeting, which I didn't notice until like 2-3 viewings in. But my movie for great snitch movie is Kelly's Heroes.
Oh, yes!
The comedy.
Those negative vibes, man.
That is my favorite quote from that movie. I use that all the time.
I love it. That's a good one.
Now, I'm going to ask Kathleen, sort of slight, what is your favourite heist movie? And Kath doesn't do heist movies.
It's a guy thing.
There's a new heist movie going to come out, and I'm wondering whether or not she can think of the title of it.
A new heist movie coming out that I should think of the title for? Yeah, okay. There was a raid recently by the FBI on a certain house to discover what had been abstracted from national treasures.
Oh, that's a
And
good
secrets.
one.
Yeah. And let's just see how that one comes out.
Uh-huh.
That could be a lovely movie.
There is a strong smell of Stormy Daniels' knickers.
Yeah, but is that really a heist movie when they had a warrant? I mean, I thought a heist
they're
movie.
not
Don't be
doing the
difficult.
heist. The heist happened before that. The heist happened when all that stuff disappeared from where it should have been stayed.
Oh, yes, good point. The archives.
So, making a movie about getting that back and bringing the perpetrators to justice should be good.
Yeah, but he's been basically committing heists all his entire life, so.
Well, Trump is what, 75? Isn't he 76?
Late 70s, I don't know exactly.
He'll be 79 by the time of the election. So
He
he'll
doesn't
be-
know that. He can't count that high.
So he's still pretty young for the American standard, right?
Yeah, he's
But
yeah,
here's-
he's
Very
way
young.
too young.
Here's
He's
a
puppy.
question. Here's a sort of a question for you guys. Perhaps Lewis could know. How old do you think Trump will be when they make a film about his presidency and what went on? You know, he'll have to be so old that he won't be able to do anything about it.
His entire shtick is like a movie. You know, it doesn't feel real. His 4 years felt like a one prolonged, crazy, mad, absurdist theatrical play. But and also it was a heist movie as well.
Yeah.
He's stealing everything, that guy. But yeah, heist. My favorite since I was a kid, and I've watched a million times, was The Sting. The Sting
Oh,
with
yeah.
Paul Newman and Robert Redford. Those guys had such incredible chemistry. I have rarely seen two guys doing a buddy flick.
What about Brokeback Mountain?
Where's the heist there?
The chemistry.
Oh, the chemistry. Yeah, that's good chemistry, homoerotic chemistry. But the chemistry in terms of acting.
They stole his heart, though. I think that was the.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of acting, was the Sting was just spectacular, and the Sting became a word in Bulgaria. The word "the Sting," people started using it because this movie was so incredibly popular. The word for the Sting in Bulgaria is uživane, and so
It's not Ivo Ivanov?
no, but uživane, the Sting, because of this movie, became a term in Bulgaria that was used for tricking somebody, for tricking somebody out of his money. And so that was interesting because the movie it won 7 Academy Awards, by the way, this film. And so it was so good that it entered the vernacular of our language. So yeah.
Who knows that, Lewis? I mean, you know,
Evo does.
Evo comes on the show and he says to me, well, of course, you know, it won 7. It was going to get 8, but so-and-so said such and such, and we can't do it. Who knows this stuff?
I don't know.
Nobody but Ivo.
No.
I move we change the name of the podcast to Uživane.
Uživane. Oh, you said it so well. Well, we can. Yeah. I love
Julian, your favourite Heist movie.
Heist movie.
I don't really know if this counts, but I like Baby Driver.
Yes,
Like-
it is. It is.
It's just a good movie.
It is a heist movie. It is a spectacular heist movie. And you know what? It's based on another incredible movie called The Driver with Ryan O'Neal and Isabella Gianni that I freaking was in love with way back. And that's where it started. The Baby Driver is kind of based on The Driver. Ryan O'Neal was spectacular in that film. And it was an incredible movie. Also, you know, you probably seen Julian Army of the Dead, which is a heist movie
You've
with
not seen
zombies.
Army
I've
of the
heard
Dead.
of it. I was gonna say I've heard of it.
Not if you know what's good for you.
Yeah, so it's zombies that have taken over Las Vegas.
Oh, I've seen people like talk about it. Isn't it where like this one zombie was being transported and then somebody knocked over the car and then they just kind of stole Las
That's how it
Vegas?
started.
It was a documentary.
It was a documentary. Yes, it was on Discovery.
Never been to Las Vegas. you know.
But Las Vegas is taken over by zombies, and there's a bank, a safe in the middle of Las Vegas that contains a big treasure, and this team of experts, you know, thieves, try to infiltrate Las Vegas, go in, get the treasure, and get out without getting killed by the zombies. And it is freaking spectacular. It's incredible. Yeah.
And don't forget that Las Vegas is about to be nuked as well.
Yes, good one, Chris. Did you like that one, Chris?
It was a fun ride. I mean,
It was fun,
It's
yeah.
not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good turn your brain off and just enjoy
Why
the
do we
ride.
like heist movies so much, guys? Is it because the intricacies involved of deception and all of these devices they use? If you think about it, every Mission Impossible movie is a heist movie.
Yeah.
Isn't it really getting something for nothing?
Yeah. It's
Doesn't
kind of
everybody want to
the
get
dream.
something that
I don't know
they
that
didn't
it's
have to?
that's it quite so much as like it is a man versus other entity. It's usually at
Man
least
versus establishment, perhaps?
man versus establishment. Yeah, I'm not like I don't want to discount what you're saying because I don't ever think of it that way.
Yeah, it's dangerous to discount what I say.
Trust me, I know. But it is never about the easy score. I think the easy score is like the character's motivation for pulling the heist. But that's not what we look at the movie for, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, at least for me, I'm looking at the movie for exactly what Evo said. So you just wrote down my answer. Heat. Like, Heat to me is like, well, I can't say that it's the definitive movie, but it's one of my absolute favorite heist movies. For me, like, I love Heat, and I can't not watch it when it's not on or when it's on.
Yeah, you can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah, but that's just Michael Mann and like the folks that are in that movie and
He's the man.
He's the fucking man, right?
But the action scenes in that too are amazing.
Are just phenomenal. Like the sound editing by itself, like I can't even like not sit here and gush about
Let's
that
take
movie.
a moment and reflect on what an incredible actor Val Kilmer is, because he's nearing the end of his life right now, and it's a good time to kind of look back and recognize the genius that this guy is. In a movie that has Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, he steals every frame that he's in, and he almost has no dialogue in the movie.
Does it just with looks? It's so amazing.
With presence, yeah. So yeah, it was amazing, and that's one of the only movies, if not the only one, that has Al Pacino and Robert De Niro together in the same frame.
It was the first for sure.
Yeah, and those 3 or 4 minutes were magical when they were together, right?
Just them sitting at a damn table talking. Just incredible. But I also wanted to throw in real quick, like, there's 2 for me, and I know that this is not a great movie, but as far as like the movie that I can't not watch whenever it's on, the remake of Ocean's 11. Like for me, the Las Vegas vibe, the fact that they so very well picked up on the Rat Pack vibe of the original movie and transplanted it into the new movie. Those are like my 2 absolute favorite heist movies.
Yeah.
There are a couple of other movies that came before the original Italian Job One was called the Lavender Hill Mob, and then there was another one called the Lady Killers.
Lady Killers is great.
Which had Alec Guinness and all those guys in it. And it's only when you watch black and white movies like that that you realise just how good these guys were.
Yeah.
So to your point, Jeremy, like I have had many friends throughout my life that like had never watched like a movie from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and all I say is, don't listen to the words. Listen to the dialogue. Like, it's a thing of beauty when you go back and watch those old black and white movies. Just like the density of what they say in the movie, like the amount of just information that is being dumped in such an eloquent way in those movies. And it's melodic, and the camera tricks that they employed for those times, they are one of my absolute favorites. Anytime anybody asks me my favorite movie, it's an easy Ringing Up Baby with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn, because the dialogue is so fast and quick, and the jokes are so rapid fire, and it's just eloquent, and it's one of my absolute favorites.
I recommend people to go back and, if you've got an evening and you've got nothing, go and watch one of those old black and white movies. Sort of think early Cary Grants and people like that. It's,
Ben, you wanted to say something?
I just want to add one more to the mix. It's kind of a heist movie because it involves a giant suitcase of cocaine being stolen multiple times, but True Romance, which has an amazing cast, like Gary Oldman, all sorts of crazy people, but Val Kilmer's in it. You never see his face, but he's Elvis. And Elvis is his imaginary friend who gives him advice, and to Christian Slater, and it's just such an amazing movie, and so many famous people in it.
True Romance was written by Quentin Tarantino.
Written by Quentin Tarantino. He sold it, I think, to Tony Scott or whoever made it in order to make Reservoir Dogs.
We have new people.
Yes, Andrei and Crow have decided to get up out of their beds and come and join us. I wish I was a teenager again.
I can't really think of a heist. Oh, Despicable Me. I think,
I guess hoping for some suitable riposte, some sort of Churchillian.
Andre, Baby Driver was brought up.
I like
Baby Driver and The Army of the Dead.
Yeah, it's just hard to think of one, but I really like Baby Driver and Despicable Me, of course. But I don't really have one on mine. I haven't seen it. I have. I guess I've seen
you were
it.
Two,
then.
so you probably don't.
You were only 2 at the time, and you slept through a lot of it and burped quite a lot. Crow. Heist movies for Crow.
I haven't seen any heist movies.
Have you ever seen The Sting?
Of course you have.
I don't
That's
think
old,
I have.
but
Silly
The Sting is a classic. You really need to see
Butch
it.
Cassidy and the
no idea.
Sundance Kid.
I think that counts.
That counts because they robbed a lot of banks.
Yeah.
That's all they did. Yeah, again, great chemistry.
As the famous line, Esther, un robo. Or something like that.
How about Bonnie and Clyde? Yeah.
We unbeknownst to us, we started talking, and we realized almost every movie ever made is a heist movie. it's like really we went through the list, and we realized we've barely seen
How about Bambi?
any movie that without a heist.
Bambi.
Bambi's gotta
Alice
break
in
out.
Wonderland.
That's a heist.
You gotta save the life.
Songs where they steal their hearts,
Bambi's mother's life got heisted. So
There is that.
Too soon.
Let's move on to a new question. Do we think, team, the current administration will be successful in bringing Brittaney Griner home in sometime before 9 years? Lewis.
I'm not sure that it's that any administration could. Like, I feel like our current administration, without question, has a better opportunity than the last one. But I don't know that translates to being able to overcome essentially the geopolitical orbit that we find ourselves in, and being able to legitimately negotiate a deal to make this happen, where the madman over there is going to be willing to let her go.
Let's face it, any demand he makes for her release is going to be absolutely absurdly pro-Russian and
Yeah, and I don't know what that means. I don't know if this country will would make a sacrifice to get her back here. And I don't know that even if we are willing, that Putin would let it happen.
I feel like Chris wants to chime in, but before he goes, I want to mention that our fan in Norway reached out to me. He represents, after all, 50% of our listenership. And
well, what about Radina?
Well, that's the other 50%. And he was extremely appreciative of us talking about him last week. And he's truly, I don't have his letter with me right now, but I'll bring it up next time and read you word for word what he said. But
did Susan get to his letter?
Yeah, I hope not. His name is the very Norwegian Thodor, and he
Thodor
is
the Viking.
Yes, Thordor. Skål. Yeah. So we love
Tales of
him.
Noggin the Nog of the North.
We love him to death, and we appreciate him so much. And thank you, Thodor, for listening to us. And Chris, right now, is going to talk about Brittaney Griner.
Didn't we already offer up the Lord of War in a trade deal for her before that she was? I remember reading about something about that.
I don't know if it was an offer or we like
a suggestion.
Speculation on the media, right?
We possibly could, but I think, like Kathleen said, whatever Putin demands is going to be pretty much what we don't want to do.
Right.
And I can really see him waiting to see if Trump gets reelected, and then we get the exchange afterwards.
He might exchange
to give
her
Trump
for Ukraine, and that's just not on.
Yeah,
Do you think he'd take Trump?
I hope so.
I would. I would make that
Julian.
trade.
Rude.
But aren't you? Am I understanding what you're saying? Is you think that the one way that this might come about is that as a FU to the country, just waiting until Trump is in power.
Yeah, an FU to Biden, an FU to the country, basically saying I want the guy who's going to bring America to authoritarianism, and I'll just sit on her until if he gets reelected, and then I'll make him look good, and I'll make myself look good by having this exchange for some token.
It's his way of interfering in this coming election as well.
Yeah,
one of the ways.
Ben was just telling me that he is gonna wait for me to talk about this. He just wrote to me. I'll recap real quick. So Brittaney Griner is a legendary basketball player, two-time Olympic champion, two-time WNBA champion. She also won a couple of titles with her Russian team, Ekaterinburg. She plays in Russia in the off-season of the WNBA. She's 6'8". I started following her when she was in high school.
Did you? This doesn't sound good, Ivo.
So for somebody that loves basketball, it sounds perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just like your Instagram page. That's all.
This is before there was any social media.
Let's hear what he has to say.
I'm obsessed with basketball. She is. She's not the kind of girl you follow for Instagram purposes. It's the kind of girl you follow.
Not like that Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, you follow for basketball purposes. She's 6'8". She's gay, openly gay. Is married to a lady. And in the off-season, she goes to Russia and plays for Ekaterinburg. She's beloved in Russia by the fans of basketball. I started following her in high school because there was a rumor that there's a girl in Houston that plays in high school and has dunked 52 times in 30 games.
Wow.
And that's in girls' high school basketball. And sure enough, I started looking at YouTube clips, and it was really ridiculous. Her dominance, unbelievable. She became one of the greatest basketball players in history. She's now 31, 32 years old. And she gets arrested at the airport as she arrives for her season in Russia for having traces of cannabis in her vape device, less than 1 gram. And gets sentenced to 9 years in prison just last week. So this is clearly a political arrest and a political trial. And now the United States, the Biden administration, has offered Victor Bout, who is the merchant of death, who is our highest priced Russian prisoner, because he is connected directly to the deaths of thousands of people. Why? Because he's the biggest salesman of weapons, including something like hundreds of thousands of AK-47s. Mostly he sells to West African countries, in like high conflict areas in the Middle East as well, and he even sells rockets, like air defense rockets. So he's responsible for the deaths of thousands and thousands of people. They made a movie with Nicolas Cage based on his story. That's how notorious the guy is, and we have sentenced him to 25 years in prison. He's in a federal prison in Illinois and has been there for quite a while. And he's very high-priced asset. And obviously the administration didn't want to give him away, but in this case they held an incredibly high-profile wonderful human being from the United States, an Olympic champion, an international star, and we are willing to make that exchange with Victor Bout for Brittaney Griner. So is it going to happen? I think it is going to happen, because they waited, the Russians, they wanted to sentence her, to make a spectacle out of it, to put her in that steel cage. But after that, they're done. They don't need her anymore. They've done their job. Their propaganda job is done. Now they need to get something in return for her. And they just requested that we keep this under wraps. But I want to say something else. There's also, she's a political asset and a puppet in this situation. But also, she's in a very racist country with a very racist government. And she's an African-American, 6'8", gay, proud woman. Everything that Putin and his regime stand against. So she's in a horrible situation. I can't wait to have her back. She admitted guilt, which means nothing in Russia, because they use all kinds of horrible techniques to make you admit guilt.
Yeah, and they could have just deported her right then and there and said, we can't come in here. You try to begin. We're putting on your plane. Sorry. They didn't have to arrest her at all.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to say we should definitely do it, because it doesn't make sense to sacrifice someone like that when we could also still pursue this guy after the fact, after we release him. Sure, maybe some people will die as a result of what he does, but we can't control that. We can control what we can control, which is the fact that we have some, at least, ability to negotiate in this scenario, and why not? I mean, personally, I think it's a good idea.
Why do they want the dude though? Do they want him?
Does Russia want him?
Russia
Yes.
wants him. So you don't become a merchant of death without the go-ahead by Putin and his clone. He was in the army. He was a translator in the army. Victor Bout.
I mean, why do they want him? If they're in war, can't they just do it themselves? Do they need him?
No, if it's not him, it's gonna be someone else. You're right. They have many merchants of death.
There is way more.
Yeah, and I mean, wouldn't it be easier and give them a slightly better rap, even though they don't have one at this point, to do it themselves instead of letting some guy who's killed thousands do it?
Yeah.
Fernando.
Well, I think there is a chance that they just keep this for keep the noise, but definitely Russian possibly disregard if he's that guy, the merchant of war, because it's tough, because if US release this guy, we're gonna lose a big competition, because we sell weapons for the whole world, Saudi Arabia, and we're gonna be a really loss in profit for US. So maybe someone else, but definitely there is a choice that if they have some a person of interest that they want to retrieve, they might exchange it, or they keep this just on a long run just to keep the noise,
Yeah, and like Jeremy said, we raided Donald Trump's Mar-A-Lago residence, so now he's on the edge of being prosecuted and tried and maybe in prison. We can exchange him for Brittaney Griner.
I hope
and
so.
send him to
Maybe
Russia.
we could take
Brittaney Griner.
this guy, the merchant of death guy, and keep bits of him, like his kidneys. One
One
lung.
eye,
What
a
do you
kidney,
think
and an
about
arm.
this lady basketball player?
I don't know.
Not think about her.
I use her a lot in 2K, which is the basketball video game, because she's like 6'8". Yeah, but I don't know. I don't see much reason to give up like a super dangerous Russian dude back to Russia just to have some more basketball. I may sound insensitive, but I could live without Brittaney Griner for 9 years.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it this
In
way.
exchange for
You're basically you're thinking we're exchanging weapons for rebounds.
Yeah,
and it's not
exactly.
fair. You know,
no, like we could get a better trade, maybe. Like maybe exchange someone else.
You're very pragmatic. Very pragmatic. What does Crow think?
Like, I think it's dumb to trade a WNBA basketball player. I mean, she's really good. She's out of her prime, though. I mean, she's 32.
So who is your
I mean, there's no point. She's not even like the best in the league anymore.
Who is your favorite athlete?
My favorite athlete?
Yeah. U.S. athlete.
Oh, I don't know.
Somebody you really admire and like to follow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tom Brady?
I would trade. Okay. I wouldn't trade like Derek Carr.
Yeah.
For,
Derek Carr?
What about Patrick Mahomes?
I wouldn't trade Aaron Rodgers for a guy that sells weapons.
What
I feel
about
like
Dax?
That's a bad idea.
Dax. Would you trade Dax? I mean, we got to pull up some stats. Give me some stats. How many rebounds? You know, who are we gonna trade? You know, you look at Russell Westbrook. He's towards the end of his career. His numbers have gone down. I mean,
this is like trading Kevin Durant for Russell Westbrook, but instead Kevin Durant is selling super dangerous missiles, and Russell Westbrook is Brittaney Griner.
Yes, good point. You know what? I have this to go back to the serious side of things. What this also revealed, and it was very plain to see, is that the best basketball players in the world, playing in the United States, women's basketball players, make so little money that they can't pay their bills, they can't make ends meet, and they have to constantly play year-round, whereas the men make so many millions that they can take a break in the summer, recover. The poor girls, they travel around the world, China, Russia, dangerous places, and have to play to make... You know, Brittaney Griner makes $200,000 a year, and this might look like something, but she also has to pay her agent, she has to pay her team, and you know, it is so darn unfair. And I love women's basketball. It is, from a basketball perspective, from fundamentals perspective, it's beautiful. Yeah, there's not many dunks. She's one of the very few players that dunk on a regular basis. Not many dunks, not much play above the rim, but my goodness, in terms of fundamentals, it's spectacular. Watching Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird or Chelsea Gray play, it's incredible. Brittaney Griner is one of the best, and it's so sad that we can't find a way to galvanize the public to watch more women's basketball. I mean, more television coverage, more. I don't know what it is, but
I bet it's Andrei's and Crow's fault.
Yeah,
they despise. Like, I thought my Generation X was awful, but I mean, now after hear the statement of those two guys over here,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the end of the world is coming.
Can I say, isn't it like, if it's a political arrest, then while maybe it's not the best idea to trade a WNBA player for somebody who sells big weapons, it's still like technically a W, because we're getting like we're like the political arrest isn't a thing anymore, and like, so that's why we're doing it, I'm guessing, just because of politics.
Yeah, good point.
What's the chances of getting Brittaney, you know, because we don't do this on bridges anymore like they used to in the good old days of Berlin.
Yeah.
You know, but what's the chances of Brittaney walking across the bridge, right? We get Brittaney, the Russian is going the other way, and then someone pops him.
Like, you think they're going to do the exchange at the very same time, like in that movie,
like in a movie
in West Berlin,
and
East Berlin,
they might shoot
the bridge,
and then you get the
I
guy.
don't know, Jeremy. They'd have to rent a bridge and the whole. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Which bridge? You know that. Another podcast, obviously.
They'd have to find a river.
Let's move on. Another question, boys and girls. By the way, I want to thank Radina. We talked about Radina last week.
Yes, and her
she
sister.
says Well, you talked about her sister.
Yes.
We didn't talk about her sister.
Yeah, I saw.
There we are. Lindsay Vonn, that's all I'm saying. Thank you guys for saying hello, and special thanks to Jeremy for the invitation to maybe join the podcast that reaches into the wobbly parts other podcasts can't dare. Although he must have been high on diesel or some other fuel he likes the smell of. Now I see why you do every week. The show feels like screaming in a pillow. It's so therapeutic because you can shout out anything and you know that no one will hear. That was this afternoon from Bulgaria. I said, Diesel, no, it's Avgas. Thanks for joining in. We're looking at how we might be able to join folk in from other countries, and we've sort of got some ideas as how we might do that. But anyway, she says she'd be honoured to join us, and she will be listening. And cheers. So that's nice to hear.
And she brilliantly borrowed the Alien movies franchise's tagline: "In space, no one can hear you scream."
Yep.
On Wednesday night undressed, no one can hear you scream.
Very good.
Moving on about screaming, it's alive. Yes.
Basically saying the internet's vast emptiness.
And that is one of my favourite films, Young Frankenstein. Scientists have recently been able to reanimate the cells of dead pig organs with a chemical system called Organex. The organs have...
I think we have some of that in the bathroom, don't we?
No, I used it all.
Oh.
The organs were reanimated after the pigs had been dead for over 4 hours. Does anybody else feel like this is the beginning of a very bad zombie movie? And I have to say, I'm sitting there thinking about my roast pork, right? And roast potatoes and things like that, and leeks
Coming
and
to
gravy.
life,
And-
just as
and
you
all
try
of
to
a
take a
sudden
bite.
It comes
Yes.
it comes alive and squeals at me. I mean, not good. Not good. Not over Sunday lunch.
I just
no,
want to
really.
say, like, I think they should just put it back. We don't need live dead things. That's just...
You're quite right, Julian. We do not need live
dead things.
Live dead things. That is the quote
And,
of
like,
the night. Live dead
What
things.
if it goes wrong and then they can talk? That's just even worse.
Well, that's
Well,
what
that's right. Don't eat me. I'm just going a bit the old crackling.
That would just give vegans more reason to be mad. Because what are you gonna do if you have like a dead pig, right? You're gonna like cook the whole thing, and then if you take it out of the oven, and then it just
he's
says,
going,
"Hey,
oink,
what are you
oink,
doing?
oink. Yeah,
It's so hot in there."
Oink. Yeah.
And the next step,
up.
of course, would be to animate things like vegetables. And then we would
No,
starve.
hold on. He said about the vegetables. Have you guys watched the movie The Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they're pretty dangerous. They can be pretty
vengeful,
nasty.
yeah.
Okay, we're all gonna starve to death.
Yeah.
No, this is like legit scary to me. This is like real. Like we are messing with stuff we don't really know or understand.
Well, it's
what
only
we're
a
doing.
very few
We're
people
gonna
in the
get
world who will be
necromancy
able to
next.
take advantage of it. The few very rich ones, and they're just exactly the sort of people you don't want to have live long.
So let's explain in further detail. So they were basically killing pigs with hypoxia, and then when their heart stopped, after a while, they pumped some solution to replace the blood and induce circulation, and then the cells came back to life.
Not just circulation. Yes, I shouldn't say all cellular function. Some cellular function resumed, like the cells.
But not sentient.
No. The pigs did
that's
not come back
complex.
to life. Yeah,
Yeah.
but certain cells within certain
How'd
organs.
you know?
I'm just telling you what
Were
I
the
read.
organs still inside the body of the pig? That's what I want to know. I read or heard about this. I didn't read the couple articles I saw about it, but didn't they actually? Because I think they actually had to pull the organs out.
I didn't read that in the article that I read. The article that I sent around everyone, it didn't specify that. But it's it just in my own head. That's what would have made sense. Otherwise, how could you tell? Like that the organ was functioning at all, or that the cells in the organ were functioning at all.
Yeah, because I would assume that because reading the little blurb in the questions, it sounded like to me that they actually had to not just substitute the blood for this. They had to actually put this heart in to this liquid, and then in order to get the heart to beat, they need an electrical source. So they had to probably, because I know they've done this before without this solution. This is because I've heard about this before, where they've taken frog hearts and tied electrodes to the hearts and gotten the hearts to beat outside of the frog. So if that's what is happening, I'm not worried about this all. What I would worry about is if they kill a pig and then bring it back to life completely. And we've got video of it clearly dying. You can see it. They put it in a box. They take all the air out. You watch the pig die. Then you watch them do their thing, and then the pig is up running around again. That's when I'm going to get worried.
Yeah.
That sounds like a MK Ultra stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm totally for it because, first of all, I've been preparing enough for zombies. What, are we never going to have zombies? Is that what we're going to try to do? And then you talk about killer tomatoes, but what if we have, like, Veggie Tales? What if that's the result?
Oh, they're like...
They're friendly,
right?
yeah.
They're very religious, I think.
See? What, we could learn something from these zombies.
Yeah, I hate zucchinis and their attitude, their wrong attitude.
Not to mention eggplant.
But we've already been there. We were there in the 50s with the Triffids.
Yeah.
Don't you remember the Triffids?
Triffids?
I love Day of the
Yeah, the
Triffids.
Triffids.
That's it.
The Day of the Triffids.
I
Yeah,
love the
that's right.
BBC remake that came out like early 80s. That was a great version of it.
That's how they used to talk to each other.
Yep.
So sentience is more complex. I mean, there's electrical activity in the brain that's so intricate. I mean, it's very intricate, very complex. You have trillions of connections between 100 billion nerve cells. I don't think that that's doable. They might have revived some function in the cells with this solution. But if that happens and they're able to reanimate tissue that's already been dead, that means there's a chance for Biden's second term.
Wow.
This isn't really reminding me of zombies as much as it is a movie Crow and I watched today, which is The Amazing Spider-Man.
I thought you were supposed to be at school.
No, not yet.
It's summer.
Yeah. But in The Amazing Spider-Man, Dr. Curtis Connor, he has only one arm, and he uses lizard DNA to regrow his arm and then turns into an evil lizard monster that destroys New York City.
As you
So
do.
I say no.
Yeah.
Crow, do you have a view on this? Lizards and the like?
I don't really want any lizards running around. He was pretty scary. He was huge. He had giant claws. And he turned everyone else into lizards too. So I don't know. As long
Okay,
as...
well, actually, I can see that if somebody has, for example, had gangrene and part of their foot has died or something, and we can then reanimate that tissue and make it a functioning foot again or whatever it was, I can see that there could be good results from this. It's not going to grow a whole bunch more feet or something.
Julian.
I just want to say, like, who's to say that if we can get something to come back, it's not going to crave blood because we changed its blood. So it's like, I need normal blood. So
Well,
that's
because
how zombies
tissue
are
doesn't
going to
have
start.
brain cells.
But no, I'm saying if we, like, fully reanimate a creature, right, its blood is, like, basically tainted because we put chemicals in it, and then the creature, like, I need more blood, so they go attack people.
But you can buy a True Blood can. Or
Yeah.
Pig. What if a
Julian's
pig who's
into
craving?
vampires.
What if a pig who craves blood bites some guy? Is he going to then crave blood?
that sounds like another
You're
like
talking about
pandemic,
vernacular, right?
Farmers will tell you, you know, we go on about cats wanting to rule the world. In fact, it's pigs. Because if you fall in a pig pen and no one knows, you're done. You know, they'll eat you.
I think we've all seen
It's like
Snatch.
butter. What was the quote, Lou? You probably remember. What was the guy say about the
He said, I can't remember.
Gonna something like butter. Like
slices through those bones like butter.
Lewis, what do you think?
Like I can only see the setup that Kath's talked about as this making sense, but I don't know that we've got bright enough scientists to figure out to limit the way that we use this. And
I'm not sure we've got bright enough scientists to take it further than a limited way.
okay, so that's fair. That I will go along with that, but I don't. I fear that this is legitimately us getting ahead of the morality of our science yet again.
Well, what's wrong with somebody whose heart has stopped, giving them an electrocardio shock in order to try to get it to go again? What's the difference?
Yeah, I don't think there is. Ultimately, I don't think there is.
Yeah.
It's that there's something very.
We're taking people who are to all appearances dead
Uh-huh.
and bringing them back to life already.
But I mean, you compare a defibrillator to recreate life. That's quite different, though. Like, if you shock a heart, I mean, that's
It's just the amount of time it's been unused.
Catherine has got a good point. I mean, because
So
I
it
think
goes for 30 seconds without breathing or whatever, and they keep shocking, and all of a sudden, boom, it's back. What's the difference between 30 seconds and
4 hours?
As opposed to 4 hours, and
okay, I'm not asking literally what the difference is. Okay.
but that's the difference is it's just an amount of time. I mean, I can see some positives from this because I read the link, and actually everything was left in the pig.
Uh-huh.
They replaced the blood with this stuff.
Organex, yeah.
They were hooked up to a
True
ventilator,
blood.
and this ventilator was actually pumping oxygen into the pig's body, which sort of what I read kind of minor league stimulated the rest of the organs in this pig.
Right. What about the brain?
They said they had some kind of activity, but that's difficult to say what kind of activity, what kind of consciousness you've got going on.
Sounds like they're a long way from reanimating stuff entirely.
Yeah, but this could have implications for maybe preserving people so that organ preservation or people
a lot of
that
possibilities.
preserving them until we can actually cure what disease they've got. But
Ben again.
But Lewis has got
sorry.
a good point because there are always unintended consequences to everything we do, and a lot of them we don't know what they are because it won't happen until it happens. We can't see it because we're always only looking at, well, we could do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then somebody a year later comes along and said, oh, you can do this with that.
Who knew that the Wright brothers would mean the death of hundreds and thousands of people in air crashes?
December. Before we go to
it was
bed,
Santos
just-
Dumont because it was the Brazilian guy that created for airplane. It wasn't
It
the
was the
Wright
Brazilian guy
brothers.
who did everything in the world. I admit that.
I have to say,
Brazilian airplane stuff?
I'm
Santos
lucky
Dumont.
because I am not a haemophiliac. Well, my brother is a haemophiliac, and blood transfusions have kept him alive. And so, we're quite happy pumping blood into someone who's been injured in a car accident or who's very, very ill, that sort of thing. And we found out, it's got to be the right sort of blood, sure, the right group. We're used to that. Now, we've only been doing that, call it 100 years-ish, Doctors don't write in, if it's 110, okay, I'm sorry. But so in 100 years' time, right, where will we be at then?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, so like the whole thing about AI and all that advancement and the trucking industry going down because of, automated cars and things like that. What if the path we're going down gets rid of the ghostwriting industry because zombie writers take over and,
That's
are writing for the animated?
And this is your second podcast.
Both are going to have to
Yeah.
unionize that.
And Julian, I actually watched a very revealing documentary where this cat died and was buried in an native Indian cemetery.
Oh,
And it was on National Geographic, I think, and then came back all wrong. And so
not a
what, to
happy
your
cat.
point,
It's not
yeah,
bad
that
cemetery.
happens. That happens. Yeah.
All right, next question, last question. What do you think this happened on Monday? We're recording this on a Wednesday, of course. What do you think, folks? I'll go around the table. What do you think the most significant result of the FBI raid on Mar-A-Lago will be, Evo? What do you think the most significant result?
Well, it is extremely significant because to get a federal warrant, to search a former president's headquarters is unheard of and is unprecedented. And to do so, you need a permit from a federal judge, and there has to be significant evidence that the warrant is reasonable. So there have to be very, very reasonable suspicion that important documents are housed in Mar-A-Lago for a federal judge to approve this warrant. And then you go in, and whatever you collect is so scrutinized, and they were expecting this. They also they have to warn the Secret Service. So the FBI agents, before going in, they were obligated to tell the Secret Service. So it was not completely unexpected, and Trump knew because the Secret Service told him. The first time when they went and collected 15 boxes from his headquarters, it was a mutual agreement, right? And this time, and he was there on the premises. This time he was in New York, in his residence in New York, so he wasn't even there. What is going on? We don't know, and the FBI isn't saying. What's very interesting is that of the entire GOP cronies, the entire party went berserk. All of their media outlets went berserk without knowing anything, without knowing the facts.
Even Mike Pence.
Yeah, Mike
Even Mike Pence as well.
who famously, Trump had nothing against him being hanged on January.
Exactly.
This guy is such a subservient, obsequious, spineless piece of crap that even he defended Donald Trump without knowing any of the facts. The only person that showed a little bit of spine was Chris Christie. The single person. Chris Christie said that it was probably warranted, this raid. What is it? One of his ghostwriters, not Tony Schwartz, the other one. The other one said, so Tony Schwartz wrote The Art of the Deal, but he had another ghostwriter for Staying on Top for one of his other books. And he said that according to his just his history with Trump, he probably took a lot of the documents so he can sell them later. Yeah. And he's such a small-time kind of grifter that he's not beyond groveling. And, just anything that he can sell and make a buck, he would do it. So he probably felt that he can sell those presidential documents at a later date and make himself a few $1 million.
Probably a second reason. He wants to get rid of anything that's absolutely grossly incriminating. And he's had a long time to do that
but
already.
Then he should have destroyed them the moment he got them out.
Yeah.
But there's so much. There's so much.
The best thing I think that's come out of this so far is the fact that it's a nice demonstration of the fact that in this country, no one is above the law.
Yeah.
That someone at least had the rock-hard cojones to say, look, we have evidence of a crime that we can convince a federal judge to give us a warrant on the previous president of this United States. And it really should be true that regardless of who you are, even a former president who might run again in another 2 years, if there's credible evidence of a crime, that person should be investigated. I mean, there's a lot of talk that there's some federal statute that would that has to do with mishandling documents that would bar someone from serving again. And I've heard opinions on both sides of this. That some say that, well, the Constitution lays out the qualifications for presidents, and it's drastically short. I mean, you got to be 35 and a citizen of the United States, and it really, if those are the only two qualifications that are constitutional.
I'm born in the United States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ben.
Well,
sorry.
I got
one other. Okay.
But
sorry.
There's other qualifications about the president, and that involves treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. And if those are enough, considering impeachment and conviction to remove the president from office, then surely conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors should also disqualify someone from serving as president of the United States.
Can I just throw one little thought in there? You said somebody with rock-hard cojones authorized this. I bet it was a female.
Yeah, gotta be.
Well, I was going to ask what cojones mean. Is that the guy, Patrick?
Balls.
Oh, Ben.
So I think you said the most significant result of the Mar-A-Lago search. I think it's going to be a deep connection to Jeffrey Epstein.
The federal judge does have connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, all of them.
I'm saying they're going to find more stuff at Mar-A-Lago, like very incriminating things.
Kathleen.
The Pizzagate.
Oh, what was my first reaction? What was the question again?
What do you think the most significant result of the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago will be?
I think they'll be able.
Everybody's going to remember where they were on Monday night.
I think they're going to be much more likely to be able to bring charges against Trump. There's got to be incriminating stuff there.
You hope, Lewis.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. I don't think there's anything that that Trump hasn't already gotten away with that we couldn't have brought him up on charges if we were going to bring him up on charges. I don't think that the system is designed to deal with the arrogance of his crimes as president. It's very much like Chris, you were just saying, like the ideas that nobody's above the law. It's like Evo said, like this is all unprecedented, but the one thing that you can say about Trump, especially over the last 6 years, is that he's done nothing but set precedents.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing about crime. It's for a lot of it's go big or go home. If you do the little petty stuff, you get squashed. But if you're just so frickin' arrogant and huge about what you've done,
Huge.
people seem to just get brain farts and just can't handle it.
Fernando.
Yeah.
Well, I'm skeptical, but like I have a hope that this, was all generated by the National Archive Department, and of course you gotta have some heavy clues about what he has and where he was. So my hope is that this become like pretty much an Al Capone situation, that he get pretty
Get
much
done for
frame it
something
on
like
it.
that.
And once you frame it, and then just escalate, and they're gonna find more and more and more. But that might be the gold pot for that orange despised. Perhaps
Maybe it'll be like the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe, but in his safe, it's orange hairdo recipe.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Indeed, but I mean
Or-
that's my hope. Hopefully, and I mean, the January 6th investigation has been phenomenal, and probably you're gonna escalate for the DOJ to shake the strings and get more more evidence in all the surroundings of him. And
Stormy
but
Daniels
I
get
think
her
this
knickers
is the Al
back.
Capone turn.
I don't know. I do hope that, like, I don't know what they might find, but I do hope they find some, like, embarrassing, like, pictures of Donald Trump. Yeah. Or just some, like, little funny, like, home videos. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something embarrassing.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
I'd love
Maybe
to
they
see
seized the PK.
the Homeland Security guy standing there and say, "Well, we had some videos. We've given those back to him." He just that sentence on its own would be wonderful. Now, Ivo, you've got to run. I know. Did we get any sponsorship tonight, or was she come up with loads of excuses and stuff like that?
No, I think we do. I was still kind of ruminating about the Donald Trump situation, though. He is known to destroy documents, so I don't think they're gonna find anything too incriminating. In fact, this imbecile was flushing documents down the White House toilet, destroying documents by flushing them down the toilet. And one of his assistants, who wrote a book now, unfortunately for all of us, took pictures of this. But remember this idiot was complaining at his rallies that toilets don't flush. There's not enough flush velocity, which is a great name for a rock band.
He has to flush 10 times or so.
Flush velocity, yeah. And so he was complaining he has to flush 10 times. Now, this gives a brand new meaning to these diatribes at his rallies. And also, the flushing down of documents also gives new meaning to what Kath said. She used the expression gross criminal conduct.
Jeremy, we didn't ask Julian if he had any thoughts
I
on
thought
Mar-A-Lago.
he was vacuuming. Julian.
I'm gonna be 100%. I was gonna ask what happened because I hadn't heard about it either. Like,
Interesting, isn't it, that there's an age group that aren't terribly interested in what
Trump took
grown-ups
with
are
him
doing.
from the White House boxes and boxes of classified documents, stuff he was supposed to leave because they're presidential records and it's against the law for him to have them. They have been chasing him with requests to get these back and subpoenas and all that kind of stuff, which he's completely ignored. So eventually they just went and got them. And he's pissed.
And that's never happened with a
There's
president.
He's got top secret stuff that could be a national security risk that he could sell. And he probably will.
And it's apparently so secret that they can't even release the lists
Uh-huh.
of the secret stuff. So,
Well, then why did they say that it's secret stuff? Because now people are going to be like, come on, government, tell us what he had. but then they're like, no, you can't know what he had. You're not supposed to know that he had that stuff. That stuff doesn't
Well, if they
exist.
didn't explain he had top secret stuff, they wouldn't be able to explain why they had to go there.
Could they not have just been like, this dude stole stuff? He stole...
He probably stole other stuff too.
No, probably not, because there's 30% of the country who think that Trump can do no wrong. And so the FBI are actually going to have to come up with stuff. But if they come up with stuff, Trump is already saying they planted it. So, we're going round and round in circles. Let's see what our sponsors have got to say tonight. Susan.
Yeah, let me look here what Susan sent us. Oh, wow. You guys, this is the first. This is the first. I don't know how this is going to go. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. But, recently... movie reviews have become a fringe industry, with Rotten Tomatoes, with all kinds of sites on the internet. Yes, Julian?
I can't confirm because they kind of popped up on YouTube out of nowhere, and now they're all over my recommended.
Yes, and there's millions and millions of views, and people are making serious money. But now Rotten Tomatoes apparently has a serious competition in a Sarcastic movie critic, Vinecent Saint Connoisseur. Apparently, Vinecent Saint Connoisseur, a Sarcastic movie critic, who calls his website, his movie review website, "Wow, what a film!" And each of his reviews starts with this sentence. So, and believe it or not, no phone, no answering machine today, no telegraph. No fax machine.
How did we get the message?
He's here.
Oh!
Yeah. Vinecent Saint Connoisseur is here.
Under the table.
And there he is. Hello, sir. Welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, one of the top podcasts in the world. Bonjour. Bonjour. Well, he sounds just like me. Bonjour. Oh yeah, what a podcast! What a podcast! You are to podcasting what Chris Christie is to Olympic gymnastics. And today I will sponsor you, your miserable podcast, by providing movie reviews, and I will allow you to ask me for the movie that is to be reviewed. Jeremy Taylor, do you have a movie that you would like me to review?
Titanic.
Is there more information?
Epic romance and disaster movie released in 1997. It was directed by James Cameron, written by James Cameron, produced by James Cameron, starring Kate Winslet and Leonard DiCaprio.
Oh yeah! What a film! It was just a tad too long. I really enjoyed aging during the movie and missing my children's graduation. I perked up briefly only because Kate Winslet's right boob made an appearance. Since this was the movie's only redeeming quality, it should have been titled Titanic.
Wow. Wow.
But my goodness, what a sweeping romance. Oh. Rich, spoiled Rose, pigging out on lobster tail in first class, and Jack, a poor, starving pervert pretending to be an artist so he can look at boobs. The one thing they have in common is horribly written dialogue. I guess that's enough for James Cameron to make them fall in love. At the end, their love is tested, as Rose is floating on a wooden door. Instead of inviting him on the said wooden door and saving his life, she chooses to caress him lovingly while he is slowly dying of hypothermia in the North Atlantic. I guess she keeps him off the floating door because it is the same door that was used on the ship to separate first from second class. Way to go, Rose. Way to go. Kathleen, do you have a movie you would like me to review?
Oh, of course I do. I was thinking all about it. I thought that The Happening would be a good one.
The Happening.
Yeah, it was a sci-fi thriller, an environmental sci-fi thriller. Came out in 2008. It was directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And written by the same guy. Okay? Produced by the same guy. It starred Mark Wahlberg. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah! What a film! Wow, I loved it. The Happening. It took an anesthesiologist to wake me up after this one. M. Night Shyamalan and Mark Wahlberg, genius acting, place you instantly in a cinematically induced coma. After the movie, I was rested and refreshed. Mr. Louis Volton, do you have a movie to review?
Of course I do. How about No Alibi? It's a suspense thriller from 2000. It's directed by Bruce Pittman, and it stars one Mr. Eric Roberts.
Oh, yeah. What a film. No Alibi. I guess the title of this film comes from the fact that Eric Roberts couldn't prove he was somewhere else when that movie was made. Young Julian, do you have a movie you would like me to review?
Yes, I love movies. Jurassic Park 3. It's a science fiction movie, and it was released like 9 years before I was born in 2001. It's by Joe Johnson, amazing name, and it's starring Sam Neill and T. Leone.
Oh, yeah. What a film. The trailer promised that the audience will be shaking in their seats. I was shaking all right, out of acute boredom. I am still shaking. The movie gave me a fucking Jurassic Parkinson's. Chris, maybe there is a movie you would like me to review.
Yes, indeed. The wonderful, suspenseful horror sci-fi flick Nope by the indomitable Jordan Peele, released in 2022.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. What a film. In Nope, Jordan Peele does it all. He writes, he directs, he produces. He also did my job because he wrote my entire review in the title of the movie. Mr. Neil Rasmussen on the knobs, can you please provide me with a movie to review?
Absolutely. So I'd like you to review Darkest Hour.
Ooh.
It's a historical drama released in 2017. It's directed by Joe Wright and stars Gary Oldman.
Oh, yeah. What a film. Who doesn't want to watch 2 hours of slobbering, overacting, 250-pound Gary Oldman? Who doesn't want to watch Winston Churchill speaking gibberish?
Excuse me?
Who doesn't want to watch...
Jeremy.
Who doesn't want to watch Winston Churchill speaking gibberish and farting his way through World War II? The answer is nobody wants to watch that except Jeremy Taylor. Yeah. Of course. Here's my one-sentence review. The Darkest Hour is the darkest 2 hours of my life. Oh, Mr. Crow, do you have a movie you would like me to review, Mr. Crow?
Of course I do. I would like you to review Divergent, a dystopian science fiction released in 2014, directed by Neil Berger, starring Shailene Woodley.
Oh, yeah, what a film.
Surprise.
Divergent is a sequel to the equally unbearable Insurgent. And after watching these shit shows, my brain needs some detergent. Yeah, please, that's right, find me a surgeon, because it's pretty urgent. Mr. Andrei, would you like to...
Sure, I got a movie in mind. It's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's a science fiction movie. It was released in 1977, I think. Ooh. Directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Steven Spielberg, and starring Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, yeah. What a film. Overrated steaming pile of cinematic manure. I call it Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Wow. Harsh.
Mr. Fernando, would you like me to review one of your favorites?
Sure, please. Would you please review The Lake House? It's a fantasy romance released in 2006, directed by Alejandro Agresti, starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, yeah! What a film. And what an artist Keanu Reeves is. What an artiste. Shakespearean, right? The Lincoln Memorial has wider range of facial expressions than Keanu fucking Reeves. Watching this statue act is conducive to suicide, so this film has been banned in the United States where there are too many firearms in private hands. Mr. Jeremy Taylor, would you like me to review another one?
Sure.
Is it The Dark Star?
Oh, of course, one of my favourites from 1983, E.T. Science fiction, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Henry Thomas and Drew Barrymore.
Oh, yeah, what a film. A 3-foot-tall alien proctologist comes to Earth and amazes everyone with a crappy BMX trick, 10-word vocabulary, and the IQ of a ficus tree. At the end, he wants to go home. Incidentally, so did I, as soon as the fucking movie started. Kathleen, would you like me to review another film?
Just as a point of interest, you know that the Brits don't say they ate something, they say they ate it.
Oh.
That's what they thought the film was about. Something they ate. No, not really. It could be.
I wake up next
could be
to
real.
something, you know.
The one I want to have you review is The Mummy.
Ooh.
One of my favorites. It's a fantasy action adventure released in 2017, directed by Alex Kurtzman, and of course it starred Tom Cruise.
Thomas Cruise. Oh, yeah, what a film. I firmly believe the script was written with finger paint on a sidewalk by a crack addict. The plot makes less sense than Wednesday Night Undressed. The characters are paper thin and one-dimensional. In fact, there's less character development in this movie than in Donald Trump's childhood. I give it 50 million thumbs down. Mr. Lewis Walt.
All right, what about Waterworld? It stars Mr. Kevin Costner and Dennis Hopper. It is from 1995 and directed by Kevin Reynolds.
Oh, yeah, what a film. When I was a child, I wanted to be George Washington. Later, I strived to be Neil Armstrong. Later yet, Michael Jordan. Well, while watching Waterworld for the first time in my life, I wanted to be Stevie Wonder.
Oh, God.
Mr. Young Julian wants a movie to be reviewed.
I want you to do Ratatouille. It's like the comedy one. It was released in 2007, directed by Brad Bird, and it's starring Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a film. Look, if I come home after work to find a rat making a fucking stir fry in my kitchen, I will turn around, buy some C4 plastic explosive, and blow up my house. Also, I will have nightmares for the rest of my life. So fuck Ratatouille. Next. Last movie goes to Chris. One more, Chris. One more.
Oh, one of my favorites, The Purge, the dystopian action movie, directed by James Monaco and starring Ethan Hawke.
Oh, yeah. What a film.
Damn, that's kind of Purge.
The Purge, yeah. And Purge I did. 5 minutes into the vomit-inducing shitfest, and I didn't stop until the end. Goodbye, Wednesday Night Address. Thank you, Vinecent Saint Connoisseur.
Whoa!
You've been listening to another Wednesday Night Undressed. Hopefully your bath water didn't get cold. All that remains is for me to thank everybody who was on the team tonight. Chris, Ivo, Julian, Fernando, Lewis, Kathleen, Ben, Andrei and Crow. On the knobs, Mr. Neil. Neil. We should all shout Odin, shouldn't we? Odin. That's what they used to shout when they were running down the oars of the Viking longships. Yes.
Well, this is it, right?
Yep, that's it. Thank you for listening.